bring the energy, he'll do the rest. Martinez and Company, powered by Sports Radio 102.9 The Game.
You're going to hear it right here.
The show starts now.
It feels good to see the world getting loose. Feels good to see the world getting loose. I don't know about you, Sack Noel. I don't know about you, Phenom. I don't know about you, White Shadow. I don't know about you, but I feel good.
And yes, indeed, I don't know about you, but I know I feel damn good. It is a Monday morning, October 21st here at Martinez Company. I am your host, Angel Martinez, live from the Coastal Sports Network studios here at Broad Street South, where all start, of course, on Sports Radio 102.9 The Game. You guys can download the app by visiting sr1029thegame.com. And we do appreciate everyone who tunes in from all over the world, whether it be in the east side of the pond or right here in the Western Hemisphere. Either way, we appreciate you all for tuning in as we are live from 10 to 12, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Of course, Pete, you guys just heard him. He was on from 7 to 10. As the end of that discussion ended up being about Atari and Nintendo and everything else. We just love to have all kinds of fun here on the show. And I'll even bring up a picture here that I was trying to bring up before we ended the show. So that'll be about the old, as Joey B always loves to say, the old squiggly lines. Did you guys remember from that back from the Gerard cable boxes? There used to be a long brown cord that would go over to your cable box and you would just move it around your living room because it wasn't cordless back then, because the ingenuity was not done at that point. But I want to start out because we're going to get into USF football. What a game. What a comeback to stop the losing streak at 3, to finally put the W back in there. And yes, there was a fight or a skirmish or whatever you guys want to call it on the sideline. But just in the heat of the battle, everyone's going to be upset because everyone's always looking to be better than their counterpart. And of course, with USF, it's no different. The guys they were upset. Archie ended up starting the weekend on Saturday, 3:30 kickoff that seemed like late into the evening. Again, the injuries, what I don't understand when it comes to college football. If you're injured, I get it. I understand it. But if you're not that injured, can we kind of speed up the process? That part, I have no idea why in the world they keep going the way they do. But either way, listen, it is, I guess, what it is, unfortunately, with college football. But I just wish they would just kind of speed up the process when it comes to the injuries. I know some of the guys later on, I know some guys are like, when basketball finally stopped the flopping, it's almost kind of the same in football, but we hope not. As Gas Pump Guy, first guy that comes in across the board here, he says, Angel, I got to say your intro always makes me feel good. I love it. How are you doing, my brother? I do appreciate GPG. I'm doing good. As we end up taking a look around, and I have a video up there on the screen because it's kind of recapping about USF's last night. Of course, it was Saturday night. It is Monday, so this is it'll be the recap. And then we'll show the game highlights, which is about some 3 minutes and change long, so you guys can kind of keep up with what's going on with USF, but also the women on the pitch out there in North Texas taking care of business. Sadie Sider Eckenberg, man, what a game. And she also took a liner to the back of the head when the ball was kicked. Ended up getting it right towards the back part of the left side of her head, but thankfully she got the vision test. She was fine. It was a pretty good hit. It was a solid hit, but she came back. She said she was okay. She ended up finishing up the game as well. And the ladies looking resilient, 10-2-1, if I remember the correct, 10-2-3, I believe. The record for the season. It's just amazing what they come off a clean sheet, end up winning. North Texas had the equalizer on early. And you would have thought the way North Texas was playing last night, not taking anything away from them, because those ladies were killing it on the pitch last night. So good win overall by the USF women's soccer team. Of course, basketball is right around the corner, both men and women. It is just exciting times here at the Bay, in the Bay, as always, especially with USF as they continue to do good things. Hockey, they won also as well over the weekend, so there's a lot going on over at USF. And I know a lot of folks, listen, it's easier to root for, the Miamis, the Ohios, the different teams that are out there, but this program continues to get better each and every year, at least since I've been here in the last 5 years. and now working with them, it makes it even better. That's the nice part about being with USF and just watching how they've progressed every single year, and it gets better. So here is what happened as according to this directly from USF. This is what happened about last night. Of course, there's a recap from Saturday night, and then we'll actually get into the game recap.
Hit it like that. Hit it like that.
Pushing the ball. Have a touchdown. Picked off by Jalen
USF continues to get better. They're going to get better. It's going to continue to get better. It's such a great university, such great folks that are over there. And it was fun on Saturday afternoon. Not too many tailgates. And I think most of it was because it was windy out there at Raymond James Stadium. So a lot of folks that normally have a good amount of tents, not tents, but the overhead covers. Normally there's a lot of them that are out there and they put stuff up there, but because of the wind factor, I think that's why a lot of folks end up not putting up as many. They were still tailgating, don't get me wrong, but they didn't want stuff blowing all over the place, because the nice thing about the folks, they go over to USF is no matter, you can go to stop by any tailgate. You could be the opposing team. They have no problem whatsoever. If you walk through Raymond James, through the parking lot, either side on the north or south side of the parking area, they don't mind. You could be again, you could have been from UAB and they would have stopped it. But the one lady from security, I wish I would have gotten her name. I normally obviously wear my company logo whenever I'm doing a function that's, whether it being baseball or hockey or anything else, I'm always in my work attire. And the lady says, "Oh, so you're rooting for UAB?" I said, "No, it's just, that's my company colors. I love blue. And so I've had it out there." And she said, "Well, could you wear something green?" I'm like, "Well, hopefully soon I'll be able to have a USF logo somewhere on one of my company shirts. So you guys can see, obviously I root for USF. But she was really nice. Security there is always a great time. They're really nice. The Tampa Police Department, same thing. They come in and they help out. They had a couple of state troopers there, which it's normal. It's not like it's something that's unusual, but to our law enforcement, even the sheriff's department, while I was there, I mean, it's always a great time. They are the best, I will say. I'm not trying to be one-sided, but they're always a good time, and end up joking around with you. But when it's game time, of course, they're serious about their job and they always look out for the wellness and security of everyone. So appreciate all the law enforcement that were out there. And then, of course, end up hanging out with my good friend Rock Riley the entire game, which was that was a lot of fun, hanging out with Rock. And he'll be on here soon. I have to coordinate a date with him. So you guys, if you have not met Rock before, good guy, used to be on Bay News 9 here locally in the Tampa region, and now has started up his own venture, doing well. And as everything else, him and I support one another. It's always great because he has a really good podcast and breaks it down. Good guests all the time. And most of the time, you usually try to get some great Buccaneers guests as well. If not the guys, depending on the time they end up having. But nonetheless, it was good to hang out with Rock up in the media, in the press box. And it was just, it's always a good time up there. So thanks to USF for that. And then, of course, the next home game will be against Navy. That's going to be a big one for obvious reasons, because the way Navy has been playing as of late, still undefeated, just like Army. And as I mentioned on Pete Shepard's show, that it's going to be, if these two teams keep going the way they're going, that clash that will be at the link will be something that we have not seen. Every year, everybody knows it. We all look forward to the Army-Navy game, especially those who served. And thank you all out there who serve and continue to serve our great nation. No matter what goes on in our world today, let's not forget we are still the best nation, no matter what. We'll get better. We'll all get better. But when that game comes around, it's going to be such a fantastic time to watch Army-Navy go at it. Again, especially if they are undefeated. So we will get into now the highlights, and then I'll do a quick rundown coming off USF website about the description of the game. But again, the Coach Golish had addressed the skirmish that happened on the sideline. Now, again, it's like every team's done this. I don't care if you're from Pee Wee to Little League, coming all the way through. And yes, I mentioned Little League, which is obviously baseball. But when you come through the ranks, you get in the heat of the moment, right? You get frustrated because you know how well your team can do. And so now you're just there and you're watching that hopefully, and UAB who's now a 6-game losing streak, but came in as 1-5. I mean, everybody wants to stop the bleeding at one point or another. You had the week before with the Hurricanes. So, of course, USF had to go out to Campbell World out in Orlando. They lost that game there 21-3. So they were looking for this bounce back. And it could have been very easily, as I put out on Twitter, X, during the game, that coach was going to make some adjustments, and he did. And there was one 77-yard pass that, man, it was a thing of beauty. Oh, it was so friggin' nice. Archie, I mean, it was the perfect spiral. Deep, he had 5 to 6 yard separation between the next defender, and it was called back. It was called back because he said it was a push-off, and so they brought it all the way back. Thankfully, though, a couple of plays later, they ended up getting that score back. But nonetheless, at the half, this team could have thrown in the towel if they wanted to, but they hung in there, as they do, and made things happen. So I'm going to go to the video element over from USF, and we'd like to thank those who are watching, again, through Facebook and YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, kick.com. Thanks for those, for the folks who watch over there as well, along with Rumble and everywhere in between. Don't forget, you can always call or text the show at 727-858-6650. 727-858-6650. I'm quite sure I'll be hearing about Gas Pump Guy with tonight's matchup, which will be a big one, Bucks versus Ravens. So the Monday Night Football trucks were out there on Saturday. As soon as the game was over, they started pulling the trucks into Raymond James Stadium so they can get set up for what will be and what should be a really good game tonight. This will be a battle test for both teams, especially for the Buccaneers, to figure out if they're going to continue to go with the NFC South and they'll be able to pull it off. But here is the recap from Saturday. Again, good crowd on hand, and it was just a great time at USF as they pull off the win. So here's a quick video.
Back at Raymond James for USF, back in their city of Tampa, Florida, to host UAB. Both of these teams still in search of that collective effort for 4 quarters. Who can find it today and get an AAC win? We're going to touch back to start this one up. Archie's first throw goes over to Sean Atkins, and it is a record catch to begin the game for Atkins, now the career leader in receptions in USF history.
Hold the football and have indecision. That's huge when you're practicing with a new quarterback.
And giving him a good pocket, too. He's got a good pocket here, and has a target, and he has a touchdown. Keyshawn Singleton. 67 yards this time.
And this time, no flag.
Wow. All it took was one play to get it all back.
Nice release, physical with the hands. They're bracketing the guy, but he's outrunning the bracket, and that's a miscommunication. It appeared to me that Kelvin Hill, the freshman, who I really...
More manageable here. Back to Keith, pushing the pile. There was a last-minute stretch, and it got him a touchdown to make this a one-possession game. Teron Keith punches it in.
On Joel Gordon. Joel Gordon, the offensive coordinator, understood what was happening. He understood the assignment at the moment of the game. He saw his offensive line begin to take over. He stayed disciplined and continued to call runs and throw a catchable ball under duress.
Kitna is under duress and is intercepted. Picked off by Jalen Schuler. Motoring the other way. And now South Florida sets up shop with an opportunity to possibly take the lead.
This is what this guy does, Jason. This is just zone coverage, and that's just a bad read. I don't think Kitna ever saw him. And Schuler's in his hook drop, and the ball comes right to him. That ball almost caught him. I mean, look at it. Throws it right to the defender. Obviously, he expected his receiver to keep coming.
It's Jack Wiltie sliding over to left tackle. Some motions here on a really big 4th and 1. UAB defensive line has been good today. He'll opt to throw it. It's complete. Joyner Jr. end zone.
give it up.
They get up there quickly. Still awaiting the signal. 5th lead change of the day. See what they have to do. They will run it. And the ball opens up. Joyner Jr. 2-possession game. The biggest run of the game. And South Florida has stormed back in this second half. There are a lot of positives to focus on here with this UAB program moving forward. But the day will belong to South Florida. A second half comeback for Alex Golish and his squad to pull off their first American victory of the conference season.
There you go. There's a recap from USF. Now, I will say in the first half, Archie looked pretty tough as far as he was just trying to find his own receivers. They were trying to make something happen. The first half did not look so well for USF. But again, it comes down to the adjustments and how coach made them. And it did it in a very good manner here. As we had a text that comes in from Gaspam Guy. I'll bring it up here so that everyone can follow along with, as I always try to do with our text and messages that you guys provide here for the show. Gaspam Guy says, imagine how hype it would be in there if they were allowed to fire off the cannons when USF scored a touchdown. That would be awesome. Yeah, I would agree. It would definitely be even more awesome than what it is right now. Definitely if they could fire off the cannons. But yeah, it's a Bucs thing. I get it. I understand it. But it definitely would be. And I'm pretty sure that the college crazies would absolutely love it out there at USF. And USF was supported really well. I did see a couple of UAB folks that made the trip from Alabama up, there were a couple of them that was on the way into the stadium, which I had thanked them for coming down and following their team. But again, this team didn't look so good in the first half. Penalties were dime a dozen early on for sure for USF. And a lot of times when they made positive yardage, they were shooting themselves in the foot to put it in best terms in the first half. But in the second half, still had some penalties, but they were able to make the adjustments that were much, much needed in order to pull off the victory. And if I go back here to what ended up being as far as a recap here, total yards for USF was 355 more, obviously for UAB who had 485. Passing yards ended up being 201, 384 for UAB. Rushing yards, 154 for USF, 101 for UAB. Penalty yards, this was the bigger one, which obviously 7 for 60 yards. And that's what was truthfully was shooting themselves in the foot in the very first half. Because I'm going to go with at least 5 of those 7 penalties were in that first half. And it was silly stuff. Things that just needed to make adjustments in what you did. UAB had 9 for 88, 18 first downs for USF, 26 for UAB, 8 for 19 on third down conversions, 6 for 21 for UAB. So both struggled in this game to convert third downs. 1 for 1 as they went for it at one time, and they ended up doing so. UAB went 1 for 3. Time possession went to UAB at 34 minutes, 35 seconds, with USF with 25 minutes and 18 seconds. But obviously, more importantly, ended up being the victory itself. So this comes directly over from the website where it says, returning to Raymond James Stadium for the first time in 3 weeks was South Florida. At 3-4, 1-2 in the American Conference, outscored UAB 28-6 down the stretch to notch its first American Athletic Conference win of the season. 35-25 over the Blazers, who are now 1-6 and 0-4 in the American Conference Division on Saturday. Junior quarterback Bryce Archie, in his second career start, went 17 of 31 for 201 yards and 2 touchdowns to log his first career win. He utilized sophomore wide receiver Keyshawn Singleton, making his first career start, who posted career highs with 4 receptions for 105 yards, including a 67-yard touchdown catch to mark the Bulls' longest pass play of the season. Now, the 77-yarder could have been the even long one, but again, a penalty called it back, so that negated pretty much that one. So, senior wide receiver Sean Atkins posted 4 catches on the day to pass Andrew Davis from 2011-2014 program record in career receptions at 153, finishing the night with 157. Atkins added a career best 54-yard 74-yard, goodness gracious, punt return that set up a Bulls touchdown in the fourth quarter. It marked the longest punt return for USF since 2020. UAB led 9-7 at the half as the Blazers knocked in field goals from 41, 32, and 29 yards. The Blazers posted 244 yards to USF's 175 in the half, and both teams struggled on the ground, posting 16 of 17 rushing yards, respectively. Now, completely true and accurate on that statement. But USF got the run game going in the second half as the Bulls finished with 154 yards on the ground, led by Kelly Joyner Jr. With 94 rushing yards, 77 of them in the second half, and 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. UAB got the opening kickoff to start the second half and saw Jalen Kitna hit Terry McDonald for 38 yards getting into USF territory. One player he hit, Amari Thomas, for a 15-yard touchdown, and UAB led 16-7 after going 65 yards in 3 plays. An 18-yard gain from Joyner Jr. got the Bulls' first drive of the second half going, but the Bulls stalled at midfield and had to punt. Andrew Stokes pinned UAB at its own 12, and a defense delivered a 3-and-out, but Atkins fumbled on the punt, and UAB recovered on USF's 32. Again, the defense responded, forcing a 48-yard field goal that gave UAB a 12-point lead with 19-7 with 10-12 to play in the third quarter. The momentum then shifted from there. On the Bulls' next possession, a personal foul on UAB moved USF across the 50. USF kept moving with the run game, and a strong run from Joyner, breaking the 2 tackles, moved the Bulls to UAB's 5. However, a hands-to-the-face personal foul on USF moves the Bulls back to the 15. Tayron Keith barreled up the middle to get the Bulls back to the 4, and a play later, Keith powered into the end zone to cut the UAB lead to 19-14. Linebacker Jalen Schuler intercepted Jalen Kitna near midfield and returned it to UAB 18. 3 plays later, Naquan Wright pounded into the end zone from a yard out, and the Bulls had a 20-19 lead after the 2-point conversion attempted failed. Freshman year Singleton forced Kitna fumble, recovered by Tavon Ward, and UAB's next possession. USF failed to capitalize, however, and had to punt. Schuler forced another Kitna fumble on the Blazers' next possession, but UAB recovered, and 3 plays later, Kitna hit Amari Thomas for a 7-yard touchdown that returned to the Blazers 25-20 early in the fourth quarter. Now, that was pretty much like the back and forth that went on all night. And to finish up here, Keyshawn Singleton made a tough cornerback catch for a gain of 24 yards to move the Bulls to midfield, but the drive stalled there, and UAB took over at its own 7 after a Stokes punt. And Ira Singleton's sack of Kitna on third down forced a punt, and Atkins delivered a career-best 54-yard, weaving his way to UAB 16. 2 plays later, Joyner Jr. dove in from a yard out to go-ahead touchdown. Archie hit Michael Brown-Stevens in the back of the end zone for the 2-point conversion. USF led 28-25 with 6:17 to play. And then finally, the Bulls' defense forced a turnover on downs, stopping UAB on the 4th and 3rd and pass break by Kajon Banks. USF took over on UAB 36 and iced the game when Joyner Jr. delivered a 33-yard touchdown run with 2:55 to play. This was, like I said, this was a battle test. And if you're going to be, they're on the road this week, but you're talking about playing Navy, and USF needed to definitely go into the win column, especially when it came into their conference. If they want to see any kind of playoff contention, is what they were looking for. Right now, they look well for this week. They know they got a lot of practicing to do, as Coach Gola said, and then they'll clean things up. The penalties were the big killers. And again, could the fight been bigger than what it was? And I know a lot of people initially were, those who were watching on TV were tweeting it out, but nobody put any nasty comments. Let's put that straight out there. And the guys eventually, obviously, I'm not going to say they hugged it out, but they obviously pull off the win. So it just, in the heat of the moment, in the battle on the gridiron, it's going to happen. Some notables. Keyshawn Singleton, a sophomore, made his first career start and recorded career highs of 4 receptions for 105 yards and a 67-yard touchdown. Quarterback Bryce Archie, 67 touchdown pass to wide receiver Keyshawn Singleton marked the Bulls' longest play of the season and Singleton's first career catch. Archie finished 17 of 31 for 201 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Looked a lot better on the second half. Wide receiver Sean Atkins broke Andre Davis's all-time career receptions record of 153, increasing his career total to 157, which then obviously it will increase from there as we still have some of the season left. with 4 catches on the day. He also moved into 4th all-time career receiving yards at 1,744 yards in USF program history. Up next for the Bulls, they will get their second bye week of the season before return to action in a Friday night primetime class at FAU, Florida Atlantic University, on November 1st. That game will be broadcast on ESPN and will mark the Bulls' first game versus the Owls in Boca Raton since the 35-23 victory in 2007 and just the second. FAU beat the Bulls in Tampa last year. So, and don't forget also, as we're going to go into commercial break, and then I'll get into some of the women's soccer match, and then we'll get into some NFL stuff as well. But don't forget that they just got starting the $22 million indoor performance facility, which they end up doing. That's all done. But the $340 million on-campus stadium, which is now underway as far as construction. You know, as fun as it is at Ray J, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun. Traffic, not so much. It's nightmarish, but it's because where it was put in there. But I can't wait to see how this new stadium is going to look, how it's going to operate, because it's coming off, if you guys have ever been down there, you have Corbett Field, and then you have the practice field for the women, which obviously they can do it on the pitch or right next to the outdoor facility for men's football, which they utilize kind of both platforms. And then the indoor facility. But the neat thing is going to be is the guys are pretty much going to be able to come from the indoor facility and go right to the stadium, which I think it's going to be so well worth it. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see how it's all going to play out here for USF in just a couple. I mean, before we know it, 2027 will be here. I mean, especially you live here in Florida, because of you being able to do everything you could possibly can on outside during the winter months. It cruises right on by. So going into the break, hopefully Duncan Dow will end up joining me. I'm pretty sure the party line will get started here not too long from now. But don't forget, you guys can call or text the show at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. We thank you all for joining us. Again, all the different platforms that are out there, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, Rumble, also on Kick. We thank those who watch over on Kick.com. So we do appreciate that as well. So after the break, we'll get into the women on the pitch last night out there in North Texas, and then kick off what the Eagles I referred to on the Pete Shepard Show was a cute win. I'm not back on the Eagles train, not like I was in the very beginning part of the season. Yes, they played the Giants. The Giants matched up evenly with them. Come the second half, finally the cylinders started semi-clicking, but I just don't think with Nick and with Jalen that they're still in the same. Just listen, enjoy the win for the week. Next week will be against the Browns. Just enjoy the win. That's all I got to say. All right. When we come back, more USF. Don't forget, 727-858-6650. And you can always download the app directly from the website's homepage at sr1029thegame.com. And or if you point your camera up to the screen, if you're watching from the office or somewhere else, the QR code will take you directly to download the sports app. You can download it. Therefore, if you're working out at home and then you're jumping in the car to go get some groceries or something else, you can switch over to our digital radio platform. Therefore, you can listen to it inside your car on your Android or CarPlay, and then switch back to the video wherever it is that you end up going. The replays are always available as well over on the website. You go over to the Sports Radio tab, and you guys can watch replays as well and keep up with stuff that goes on with USF as well. So we'll be back after this. It is Martinez Company Live on a Monday, October 21st. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontb.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't just follow us on the socials. Call or text the show 727-858-6650 and let us know what's on your mind. Now back to Martinez and Company.
I'm wide awake. And all the voices in my head wanna play. They're gonna take me to the place where the bass and all the hidden ways unfold. Where the most and lights get to be. I'm wide awake.
And hopefully the rest of you are as well wide awake as we are here. Martinez coming to you guys. Can listen in on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 12. Yes, 10 in the morning till 12 in the afternoon here on the Coastal Sports Network. Brought to you by Broad Street South, the original company that started it all. As I am the CEO and executive producer around these parts for the Coastal Sports Network, obviously for Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. And we thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, you can download the app on sr1029thegame.com. Right on the homepage, you can download it from there. You can also call or text the show, as it was just stated, 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. All right, coming up just a little bit, we'll get into how Get Up kind of feels about Jared Goff probably being one of the better quarterbacks right now in the NFL. But to get back to here, North Texas yesterday, as the ladies put on quite the match last night. Now, Sadie Sider-Eckenberg, who now has 4 goals. Mind you, she had 2 throughout the season, but last night had 2 more. Scored the first one with 11:25 in the first half. Then the equalizer by Lily Cunningham from North Texas. She was assisted by Mia Bernard. So that went on. And then before the half, with 29-26 in the first half, again, Sadie Sider-Eckenberg, she was assisted by Anna Suter, one of the seniors, and that came at 29-26. Now, as I mentioned before, they are 10-2-3 in the division. In the conference, they are 5-1-2. And I will say this much, this team, North Texas, by the way, 7-5-3 and 3-3-1 in their conference, but I will say this much, this team, and I've mentioned this before on the program, is that they took on the national champs game 1. One of 2 things happened there. One was they could have seen that and went backwards, meaning, well, you know what? Maybe we're not that good, which they weren't going to see that. Coach Brown, first season as head coach, was the assistant coach to his wife, Mrs. Brown, Ms. Denise Schuler Brown. So she was the head coach for 17 seasons, or excuse me, the assistant head coach. Coach Brown was the assistant for 17 seasons. I believe Coach Brown was about 20 seasons with USF, but nonetheless, Coach Brown ends up taking over and basically has this team, as you hear in hockey terms, basically playing on their heads, because what they have done throughout the season, it's nothing less incredible. They could have taken things a completely different way after playing the national champs, but since then, 10-2-3. Since then, it is just incredible. Or if you take the loss minus a loss, then it would be 10-1-3. But nonetheless, the ladies played outstanding. The match last night in North Texas, and it looked like they were in Florida because the temperatures were really nice down here in North Texas. Last night for the ladies, as Sadie Eckenberg nets brace as South Florida takes down North Texas. And this is the game recap brought to you by Chad Smith of USF. The Bulls have won at least 10 matches in 13 of the last 15 seasons. And this comes over from Denton, Texas. Of course, it was yesterday. University of South Florida women's soccer team was back on the pitch for a Sunday contest on the road against North Texas. Sadie Sider-Eckenberg recorded a brace to lift the Bulls to a 2-1 victory against the Mean Green. With the victory, South Florida improved to 10-2-3 overall and 5-1-2 in American Athletic Conference play, while North Texas fell to 7-5-3 overall and 3-3-1 in conference matches. The Bulls moved into first place with 17 points. South Florida has 2 remaining matches. Rice is on a bye week and has 16 points in the second. Memphis, currently with 14 points, is on the road at Florida Atlantic at 6 p.m. After today's matches, Memphis and Rice will have 3 contests remaining, including a head-to-head matchup on Thursday. Head coach Chris Brown becomes the second coach in USF history to win 10 matches in their first season as head coach. The Bulls have won at least 10 matches in 13 of the last 15 seasons. The Mean Green came into the match leading the NCAA with 24 shots per game. North Texas produced the first shot of the match in the 4th minute. Sadie Eckenberg recorded the match's first shot on goal, and it was a rocket. She dribbled along the top of the box and then quickly changed direction. She blasted a goal with her right foot towards near post and beat the driving UNT. Left off the UNT keeper. So This one here, which I can't, unfortunately, I tried to bring in the video from it earlier, but you know what? I probably can. This was the first goal. As I get back here to the article, I'll show this one first, so you guys can end up seeing and follow along. This was Sadie's first goal.
She gets that tap. Look at the touch on this thing as she reverses in the mixer and just cannon on that boot. And I was just about to say Hicks Bishop hasn't been tested here early, and before I could even get the words out, she gets that tap. Look at
now Sadie being one of the many players on, as I always mention here, I end up going back. She's always one of the first ones that, I mean, you just see her gameplay over the pitch, and I mean, just beyond a great teammate. I'll show the second one here momentarily as we get into the second part of the comments here. South Florida was unfazed and unanswered in the 29th minute, and a Suter sent a low cross into the box where Sadie Eckenberg used her first touch to chip it in with her left foot. South Florida went into the half at a 2-1 lead, and here is that goal by Sadie being the second one of the match.
She is just finding the sweet spot right now, and it just feels like the Bulls have controlled the tempo from the opening whistle. And how about that? No touch needed. She just immediately puts her boot on it, and it slides by Hicks Bishop. Man, 2-1 here, and I tell you what, like I said, from the opening whistle, Kyle, I don't know about you, it just felt as though the Bulls have controlled her. She is just.
And they did go on to control the rest of the game. And my hat's off to the broadcasters from last night. They played, I mean, it's again, you'll hear people say that it shouldn't be like one-sided or whatever the case may be. That wasn't the case. They called a very fair match all evening long. Now, wrapping up here, says Sadie Eckenberg collected her first career brace. Sadie Eckenberg also has notched the match-winning goal in all 3 matches she has scored in, and Suter dished out her 3rd assist of the year. Leah Araya Galak improved to 10-2-3 on the season in goal for the Bulls. Now, I mentioned this yesterday. She stopped 2 shots in a winning effort. The Bulls defense held the Mean Green to 14 shots, 10 shots below their season average. Now, I will say this much. Galak has to be put in for goalkeeper of the year. Has to be. The way she's been playing as of late, the clean sheets that she's had throughout the USF season, she has to be mentioned at least at goalkeeper of the year. And I believe she will be returning for one more season with USF, which is really good news for USF. But I believe that young lady should be mentioned for goalkeeper of the year. Playing definitely lights out. She has been since joining USF. From the coach, this is from Chris Brown. I'm so proud of the determination and hunger of this group continues to display. UNT is a dangerous team, and they throw a lot at you going forward. It was a crucial conference result on the road. Now we need to recover and get ready for the next one on Thursday. And some notables here. Sadie Sider Eckenberg tallied her first career brace, as we had just mentioned. The Bulls have won 10 matches in the last 13 of the last 15 seasons. And then head coach Chris Brown becomes the second coach in USF history to win 10 games in her first season as head coach. Again, next up, the Bulls return to Corbett Stadium on Thursday, October 24th for the final regular season home match. USF will take on UTSA at 7 p.m. on ESPN+. So, again, an amazing weekend for both USF women soccer, for USF men's soccer as well, and USF football. Now, switching gears, as he's politely been on hold here for about a minute or two, is Gas Pump Guys. We do our weekly Bucks segment, and of course, it is Monday Night Football around these parts as the Baltimore Ravens come to town to play now your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This should be an exciting match. Gas Pump Guy, how are you?
I'm good. It was more like 5 minutes, but you know, who's counting? I think this is going to be a real test for the defensive line with trying to stop Derrick Henry and try to keep Lamar in check. I know that's probably going to be a big excuse me, a big part of Winfield. He's going to probably be the spy and try to keep Jackson back. it's gonna be a big test for sure. And from what I hear so far, not very many people are counting that the Bucks are gonna win this, but I'm full Bucks all day, every day. So whether they win or lose, I'm gonna be behind them. But I think it's gonna be a close game. I think they're gonna pull it out. They got some key guys that might be out. Mike Evans, there's still a game time decision. I know Vita Vea was on the injury report on Saturday, but I seen a thing saying that he was good to go. So that's going to be phenomenal. That's going to be good. And we got Gedeke. He's going to be good too. So we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes.
I want to see, because I think the big thing tonight, which is more and more of the obvious, that to see if the Bucks can stop Derrick Henry. I mean, he's been playing lights out, running like a madman. And, we hear the terms, running like you stole it pretty much. And that's what he's been doing. So I want to see, this will be the biggest, I think, for the season. And I'm trying to think, other than New Orleans, this will probably be the biggest matchup defensively for the Bucks.
Yeah. Besides New Orleans, I don't really count the division games, because no matter how crappy we're playing in the regular league, everybody always plays hard against each other in the division. That's just how it goes. I think the Detroit game was pretty tough too. I mean, with that, we came out with the win on that one. Detroit still, we're the only loss. They're the only one. They have one loss, but we're the one that gave it to them. If that sounds like it makes sense. But yeah, besides the Detroit game, I think this is going to be a real big test, and I just hope they can pull it together, man. I got faith in them.
I think this should be a really well-balanced for both sides, for both Baltimore and for Tampa Bay, a run-balanced offense, a run-passing offense too, because you got to figure it's gonna be. I just got some news. So for years, I've called this guy my brother, Chris Aslan, and he just let me know that wow. Listen, Chris, God bless. His son Fisher, who he was just born with health issues, young, bright man. I mean, he lost his vision. You would never know it, because him and I would end up playing video games, even though he tried his best to block the TV from me. But he just let me know that his son passed away. That's tough. Also a huge Ravens fan, but
well, we'll definitely be saying some prayers for him, and just tell him to keep his head up, man. God is good, and he will help you prevail for sure.
And so I send him here to. That's holy moly, man. That's a shame. Loved his son. He was absolutely crazy about his son, Paula, his wife as well. I mean, his kid, you would never know. You would never know that Fisher had the problems that he had, because he loved life. He lived life like he didn't care. Would do everything. Played football. I mean, the great thing about Fisher was he had like that little bit of light that would come through his eyes. So if you would throw a football at him, he would be able to hear at least. And I would say if you would throw it 30 times at him, I would say 21 out of 30 at least he would catch it. Now, of course, you're not throwing bullets at him, but he did a pretty good job. And then he would line himself up that he can kind of see, because of the voice of your direction, where he's able to throw the ball. I mean, love the beach. It's a shame, man. That's why, listen, you have to enjoy the moment every single time. And I say it over and over again, because you are guaranteed the moment. You are guaranteed the past, because it's already happened. But you're not guaranteed a future. Live life, love life as much as you possibly can. And Chris and Paula did everything they possibly could for their son. And man, it's a shame. Gone way too soon, way, way too soon. And I don't even think Fisher made it to his 21st, if I remember correctly. It's a shame. So God bless. Hope you'll let me know when the arrangements are going to end up being. But he was such a great kid, man. He had his vision when he was born, but just gradually ended up losing it because of his health conditions. But that is absolutely tough. So my prayers go out and condolences to the Aslans, because I know his grandmother's going to be torn up, and I'm pretty sure he shared the news with her as well, but she absolutely loved him. So did, the grandfather, but man, just love your kids, man. You never know what's going to happen. Love yourself too, while you're, I always mention it too because you never know what life's going to throw at you. But so our condolences to the Aswin family. That's a tough one. But
yeah, sure.
Coming back here to football, you have John Harbaugh, and I want to play this sound here as we were talking about it. We were talking about the run balance game, run pass offense game, which for both sides, GBG, it should be really good. I mean, we've seen the Bucs being able to do it this season. They did it against New Orleans in a good second half adjustment, which a much needed win and needed for the Bay after the hurricane. But this is going to have to be against Baltimore, you're going to have to do the air run attack. You just can't do one or the other against Baltimore. It's got to be a combo of both. The Ravens are not looking to lose. This obviously no different than the Buccaneers, but this is going to be, I would say, in recent years, one of the better matchups that we've seen. And I think more because of the way Baker Mayfield's been playing as of late and Coach Bowles, how he's had his team pretty much put together. And as you and I mentioned, the fire at the beginning of the season, I want to say if you scale it from 1 to 10, it was about a 9. And then it gradually went down to maybe a 7. Right now, I want to say it's about a 5. I'm not going to go all the way down to like a 3 because he's still somewhat on the hot seat. But if you beat Baltimore, I would think you could probably put it about 4.5. And if things continue to get better, then I could see Todd Bowles coming back again for another season here with the Bucs. But the way things started at the beginning of the season, how everybody felt towards the end of last season might have been a whole different story. But I want to play a couple of sounders here. This one's from Coach Harbaugh. He says, on Lamar Jackson, always looking to improve. And this is credit to the Ravens website.
Most far along as he's been, just as a player and development-wise. And he's steadily always – he's that guy that kind of epitomizes what we're talking about there. He's always seeking to improve. He's very much a perfectionist. He wants every play to be perfect. He chases perfection in his football. So I'd say but I think his focus is on the next play, the next game.
Now, that's Coach Harbaugh talking about Lamar Jackson. And listen, Lamar, he does continue to get better. And one thing I will say, GPG, about Lamar Jackson is he's not one of those guys that you can kind of shake him off, meaning that, he's not a downer. He knows what he needs to improve upon. He's really hard on himself because he wants to continue to get better, and he does every NFL season. But Lamar Jackson, if he has, dare I say, 150 yards in the first half, could it switch more to maybe the Baltimore air attack and giving a hard time to the Bucs defense?
I think if the Bucs can keep Henry at bay, I think then yes, it'll definitely turn into he'll have to start passing or maybe making some plays with his legs. Like that's always got to be in your back of the mind when you're playing against Lamar. He's one of the best out of pocket runners. He can turn and go on a dime. He doesn't really think too much into it. Like we've seen Baker, like he'll want to run, but then he'll stop and he'll want to throw it, but then he'll try to run. And by that, the defense have already caught up to you and you're sacked or you get a couple yards. But Lamar, once he takes the ball down and starts to run, he's running. He's already decided he's not going to stop. And if we can contain all that, then yeah, I think that they'll have to start passing down the field, and that could be problematic for us also. But we have a good secondary, and I have faith in those guys back there that they can get the job done if it turns into that.
I would have to agree. As Fuji will not be joining today, he is on jury duty assignments. Next clip here it is Lamar Jackson. He says that the Ravens breed football players. Again, credit to the Baltimore Ravens website.
That's what we breed down there, like just football players. A lot of football players. Don't get me wrong, we have some basketball players here and there, probably some doctors and lawyers, but so we breed football players, man. It's something we do down there. It's like a big family gathering on Saturdays, youth football. It's always been that way from what I've known, just something about us loving football down there.
Yes, I think the confidence that I want to hear from Jalen Hurts, where some of his answers he's been dishing out lately, it's stuff that just I don't jive with, but whatever. That's the freaking Eagles, and I'll call it a cute win because that's exactly what it was. We'll see what happens next week if they can give it the same deal. It took them over 14 minutes just to get a score, It's just against a Giants team that's in rebuild mode. I don't understand it, but whatever. I can get on them for days. But here's Baltimore's running back Derrick Henry on Florida's connections in Baltimore.
I think it's just, I don't know, just Florida boys. I think we just all mesh together well. I don't know, it's just, you can't really explain it. But I feel like the Ravens, they like Florida boys, so it's been a thing around here. But yeah, I think it just comes natural. We all from Florida, that we've been around the same things. I'm up north, they down south, so it's a little different, but I think it's just natural. Just Florida boys, it's natural.
Again, now we'll switch gears here. We'll go now to the Bucs. This will be from the Bucs website. This is Tampa Bay's own Baker Mayfield on the Ravens defense. They have tone setters on all three levels.
They kind of have tone setters on all three levels. Starting up front, 92 he's a monster. He's got some twitch to him. I mean, they're stout up front all across the board. They got smart veteran players as well. And then at linebacker, obviously, Roquan Smith is a huge addition for them last year or 2 years ago, I guess. But just him coming in and setting the tone. He's a physical guy, really, really smart, recognizes plays quickly. He reacts to them quicker. And then in the back end, obviously, Marlon Humphrey played against him quite a bit. And just knowing the type of guys they have, they're physical. They want to be the bully, but they have those guys that set the tone for them on all three levels. So every single position group presents its own challenges. And so, we're playing the Ravens. They're a physical team, but it still comes down to us executing, running our things, and doing it at a very high level.
That's confidence, GBG. I mean, you can just hear in Baker Mayfield's voice, that's confidence. And he knows what he's up against, which, again, this it's got to be one of the better Monday night games that we've seen at least in a couple of weeks. And I know it's another doubleheader, which I can't stand for the life of me. I can't freaking stand it, but whatever. But I think more people are going to tune into the Tampa Bay Ravens game than the second game there. But again, Baker Mayfield sounding beyond confident. He also mentions here that he says that Baltimore's tight end Mark Andrews won't talk to him during the season, and it hurts his feelings. And I think we had mentioned this on Friday, but here it is that he hates it, and Mark Andrews won't talk to him during the regular season.
No, Mark, even though Mark and I are best friends, him and I don't talk in season. He's a weirdo. He can't exactly, separate friendship and football. So he struggles with that on a year-to-year basis. So there's a few months at a time where we're friends again, but for right now, no.
What is that like then when you go?
It hurts. What's it like? It hurts. It hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings. Guy was in my wedding, won't talk to me. It hurts my feelings. Just gonna be honest.
Man, can't blame them, man. I mean, it's funny to hear because you never hear NFL players kind of expressing those type of feelings. But hey, listen, it is what it is, unfortunately. And then come games, who knows? I'm pretty sure we'll probably say something to each other, obviously out there in the field. But hey, it's competitive, and I guess maybe Mark Andrews is kind of set in his ways where he just thinks like one way and remains focused, and that's all he wants to do is just drive and do his thing. But Baker Mayfield continues to impress a lot of folks here in Tampa Bay. I hope a lot more Bucs fans show up tonight versus the Ravens fans, but I know they travel well as well. And who wouldn't want to come down here this time of the year in Florida where it's, we're looking about mid-80s today, still a little wind that should, not play too much havoc tonight with the down there at Raymond James Stadium. But this team, and we mentioned it on Friday, we'll mention it again, it really is, in our opinion, for Bucs to lose, meaning the division. I mean, you look at Atlanta ended up losing, but you look at this division, to me, I believe that it's for, and call me nuts, Gaslam guy, but I think the Bucs should be able to hold off and win the division.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, this, if they win tonight, they move to first place. I believe the Falcons lost, the Saints lost also, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if the Falcons lost and the Saints lost, if the Bucs win tonight, then they're already in first position. And like you said, after the Ravens, we play the Falcons. That's going to be a tough game. That'll probably be. I think that's the throwback night. I think that's when we wear our creamsicle. If we can win tonight and win against the Falcons, then I think we're set in pretty good spot to take this division on and take it over. And going back to Baker, that's what you want to hear out of your quarterback. And Lamar's the same way, and Lamar even took it so far as to bet on himself because he doesn't. If I'm not mistaken, he doesn't have a representative, right? It's him and his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, that just even more confidence that, hey, I don't need any agent or anything to get what I need. I can do it myself, and that's awesome, and I like that in Lamar. But tonight I'm gonna hate Lamar and I'm gonna hate the Ravens until after the game, and then everything can go back to normal again.
It's that way at times. It's unfortunate. That's the way it is. By the way, Rick says thoughts and prayers to Fisher's family. I do appreciate it. It's a shame. He was such a great kid. And he would, we never look at our kids, and I know my dad said this before, you never look at your kids as adults. I mean, you do, don't get me wrong, but you'll never look at them. It's my beautiful wife and her sons are her kids. They are adults. Yes, they're young men. They're in the 30s and stuff, but that's the reason why you never look at them as adults, because even with Fisher, it's just a life gone way too soon. And it's just a shame, man. You would never tell this kid suffer any illness. It's just, he never complained. If anything, the only thing he complained about is going to bed because he always wanted to stay up and play and go to school. And it's a shame. I'll the show might end just a little bit early as well to make sure that I can get a hold of him. And by the way, breaking news from the NFL, an MRI confirmed Deshaun Watson suffered a torn Achilles and Sunday's loss. The Browns quarterback is out for the season. So, okay. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. Jameis Winston, nice guy. Don't get me wrong. But this morning when Pete played the sounder about him defending, listen, no one should ever boo. If guys get injured, and I know Browns fans are kind of disgusted with what's happening with the Browns and what's going on with Deshaun Watson and stuff. And one never knows the injury of a person. And so obviously when they're down for a good while, then it's like, maybe we shouldn't have booed. And, but it did cheer at the very end of it, obviously, when he was getting carted off and taken away. But Jameis Winston comes on and he says that, everyone dislikes Deshaun Watson because, everyone's against him for what he's done and what's been going on. Well, you put yourself in that situation. No one, listen, it's all about choices. Deshaun Watson chose to do what he did. He was implicated 23 different times. This last one here is probably going to be the biggest one to stick. But if you want to defend him as far as saying people don't boo him because they get injured, okay, I'll give you that one. But to say you're going to pray for him because everyone's against him, he chose that lifestyle. Just like Diddy chose his lifestyle. You choose a certain lifestyle, it's going to come back to haunt you one way or the other. It's the same way. If you like to cheat people out of whatever, life insurance, I don't know, freaking a policy of some sort, it's eventually going to come back. I mean, look at Bernie Madoff, same exact thing.
Yeah.
And he made off pretty well until he didn't, right? So it's just, it drives me bananas with some of these guys. I get it. And Winston's going to come in. Hopefully he'll kind of resurrect this, season for the Browns. There's not much you can do to get it all back together, but it drove me bananas when Pete played him and we're both in the same sheet of music. Listen, okay, defend him because he got injured. I get it. I understand it. But not because of the choice he made. I mean, it'd be the same way with me. If I chose to tell everybody to F off every single morning on the show, what do you think? People are going to come back? No, because that's what I chose. Get out of here with that nonsense. So anyways. By the way, also on injury fronts, is Raiders quarterback O'Connell. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured thumb. He's headed to the IR. So there was a lot of injuries this weekend.
Yes, there was. There was a lot of injuries. Touching on the Jameis Winston thing, I think, like you said, if you want to say, hey, you guys shouldn't boo or this and that, that's fine. But at the same time, Jameis isn't the cleanest either. I mean, when he was at FSU, he got into some trouble as well.
Correct.
But he made choices to turn it around and do better as a person, not only as a football player. I like Jameis. I'm going to be honest, when we drafted him, I kind of wanted Mariota, but seeing that his career hasn't gone anywhere either, I think we got the better of the two. But Jameis is a good quarterback. And the only thing that really hindered him is he had as many touchdowns as he had interceptions. And being an NFL quarterback, you can't do that. Maybe with his eye surgery that he got LASIK recently, maybe that helps him. And I wish him all the best, but I don't know if he's going to be able to bring that Browns team anywhere close to where they need to be.
I don't know either. And I'm kind of surprised though. We had mentioned this a bunch that Miami didn't choose to give him a call to replace obviously Tua. Tua still if he's not come back by now, and if everybody's really, really kind of paying attention at this point, you can't tell me that they have finally come to a conclusion to tell Tua, listen, that's it. Walk away while you have all your marbles, because one more hit, what good are you for your family? Okay, they'll be taken care of because of money, but money isn't everything. It pays the bills. You get trips, you do this, that, it helps. And especially for those of us who have to work, our asses off all our life to be able to get what we want. But your family's taken care of, but the kids want to play with their dad. So why bother risk it? I mean, he knows he'll get in a position somewhere with Miami. I'm quite sure they will put him up in the front office somewhere. If not, I wouldn't be surprised if ESPN or somebody came a call, and may not be for a broadcast position, but he would be around for something or another. Maybe, take the spot of like Alex Smith, where Alex comes in and does a couple breakdowns. But at this point, if Miami has been really kind of closed door with Tua, there is something bigger that's going on. So to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, GBG, but if a doctor has not put his stamp on it, that means, and it's kind of becoming more and more clear, that no doctor wants to give him the okay, and then the next injury happens, and now that doctor is in a hell of a amount of trouble.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's kind of felt. I mean, I don't really listen to a lot of the national radio stations or whatever, but even the local stations that I do listen to, not very many people are talking about it anymore. And that just goes further to what you were saying. If no doctor is going to put their stamp saying, hey, yes, this guy's 100%, he's good to go, he can play again. Yeah, there has to be something else going on, or they're trying to convince him not to come back. Because Tua's a competitor; he's going to want to come back. But they just need to move on from him, and like you said, they'll probably give him a job in the front office or breaking down somewhere on ESPN or Fox or whatever. One of those stations like does a little sideline report or something. But I wish him the best, and I never had any problems with the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins; they're pretty good. Well, they were pretty good, but they were good with Tua, I think. And he just never could get him over the hump. And, that happens with a lot of quarterback nowadays. There's more flops than there are Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or anything like that. So, at least he got to play a good while. He got a good amount of money. If he's invested well, his kids are going to be set for the rest of their life. So, yeah, why not just go ahead, retire early, take your money, and go hang out with your kids and give them a childhood that maybe you never had, go somewhere, do something, sorry, go have fun.
That's just it. I mean, why, again, you're able to play every athlete. I don't care what sport you're involved in, is always to win a championship, always to win a gold medal, depending on what sport you end up playing. For me, it's like, if you were fortunate enough to make it to the NFL, that's your trophy alone, just to be able to make it in there. I mean, it's not a participation trophy because you have to earn that one. So you made it. You came in, you got yourself a nice payday. You got sponsors. You were able to be taken care of. So now you've come, and it wasn't I think the worst part about it all is it wasn't like it was a knockout hit. I mean, it was just, it seemed like just a regular for the most part. Granted, he should have slid, of course, but he didn't. It should have been something minor, but now it's turning into something major, and I just don't see how in the world he's going to be able to come back from that one as well. So I just don't get it. Now, normally I would go through a commercial break here, but I'm going to kind of fast forward through that one as well, as I see Duncan Dad waiting in the green room there. But normally I would go into a break here, but I'm going to come back to some more NFL stuff here. I'm going to bring in Duncan Dad, who always joins me here usually Mondays and on Fridays. I have to bring up his camera, of course, therefore he can be on with me on screen. Nope, not that one. Let me go back to
number 2.
Yeah, exactly. I got so many freaking cameras I work with around here. It's just freaking insane. But let me bring up Duncan Dad here. There he is. Now I can bring him up as he joins me here along with Gaswim Guy. Duncan Dad, how are you, sir?
It's a Victory Monday, Angel. How you doing?
Yeah, okay.
Was that his Fuji impression?
For a second. That's my Fuji impression.
Yeah. Exactly what it was. But no, listen, first of all, thanks for joining me here. As we get into, we're into some Bucks talk earlier on. I want to also mention too, a little bit about this, the one they call the Aaron Rodgers, here in a second, as I have to reload up a screen here to make sure the Gaston guy is on the screen with us, even if he's not on, but make sure everybody knows who's on the phone with us. Coming into tonight's game, that'll be the 8 o'clock Monday night game of the week, even though there's, again, 2 games for this evening, but this is the bigger one for this evening. But I want to get into, because Aaron Rodgers is just a big dummy, and then we'll get into some Eagles talk with that cute win that they pulled off, because I don't, anyways, I'll hold off that one for a second. Here's Aaron Rodgers. This just beyond goofball, where he says on how to keep the belief in the locker room. This credit from SNY Network, but this, you're not selling this to anybody. I don't care who you are. Let's see. You know what? It may not even come up. That's how good it is. It doesn't come up. Hold on. I might have to freaking get out of this and go back into it. But I don't buy anything that dummy's selling, unfortunately. And it's rare that I call people that, but he's just the dribbling nonsense that comes out of him is just, it amazes me. How in the world New York is going to end up bouncing back from that? And you bring in Devontae, as I said to Pete, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be the one saying, that's my quarterback. Get out of here with your nonsense. All right, let's see if he can hear this. Aaron Rodgers and how to keep the belief in the locker room.
How do you get everybody to keep the belief in? It seems like a lot of the same mistakes keep
Stop
happening
listening to you guys. Number one. Number two, got to be accountable, you know. I got to play better. That's the key. I got to play better. We got to find a way to run the ball better so we can action pass. I thought did some nice things in the passing game. Brees obviously had a couple of really nice ones. Spread the ball around to Tay, G, and Allen. Mike had a nice conversion. But we got to run the ball better, and I got to play better.
Not listen to you guys there, Duncan Dad. That's the key. If he doesn't listen to the media, then they would be winning games.
I thought Brees Hall played a really good game. So I don't know what he's talking about running the ball. Like I decided to give myself a little bit of Aaron Rodgers therapy last night, which I turned it off at halftime because it was just my eyes were bleeding. I'm here to take all of my chastisement from everybody on the line, everybody across the Coastal Sports Network. I took the Jets Kool-Aid one more time last night.
Sure did.
In our picks, I said, you know what? His boy is there with him. He's got Wilson on the other side. Hall's going to be healthy. If there was a game for them to just like shake everything off, shout out Taylor, this was the game, right? Come out right away. Hall gets a couple passes. They walk down. He punches it in. You turn around, quickly stop him. It's 10-0. I'm like, all right, we got this going. And then what happened? Either he started listening to himself, he started listening to the media, maybe people chirping on the sidelines, maybe whatever got in his head, maybe he thought he's too good. Maybe he thinks he's better than he is at 40 years old. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. And I put this on Pete's show. I said this on 2 other podcasts. That Jets defense, we were sold a bill of goods. Either they believe that they are a lot better than they are, but they're just not executing. If you have one thing to hang your hat on, like Rex Ryan was saying, if you're the damn defense, go win the game. They went to the AFC Championship game with Mark Sanchez as their quarterback because they had this highly touted, special defense. Jets are supposed to be not only playoff contenders, they're supposed to be Super Bowl contenders.
Correct.
The only Super Bowl they're getting is down at K&A, handing out, coming up in about 3 weeks. That's the only bowl they're doing. That's the only bowl they're getting. This is ridiculous. I'm out. Jets, out. Everybody get out. And Rodgers, this is one of those experiments where it's not even an experiment, right? Like you bring in the aging stallion right into your fold, and you're like, we're going to get one more good run out of the guy, and he gets a hiccup, and you're like, that's all right. We'll get him some treatment. We'll shut him down. He's going to come back strong. He's done nothing but lay up and pull up every single time. He's like, sometimes he's not that guy anymore.
No.
He's just not that guy anymore. And guess what? Like, sometimes you have to look in the mirror and you're like that quarterback, rubbing the shoulder, looking in the mirror like, back in high school, I used to throw it around. I dominated. You're turning into that guy. You don't have a Denver defense like Elway did. You don't have a Denver defense like Manning had to carry him on the backside, right? You don't have an offensive guru like Sean Payton to scheme for you like Drew Brees did at the end of his career. And I'm not even going to bring up the TB name because that's just I've come to the realization that even in all my hatred and all of my disdain, not really hatred, disdain, that certain people are exempt from conversations anymore.
Right.
It shouldn't be in the conversation. And this guy right now, people, he's greatest of all time. He's so much better. He did so much with less, blah, blah. He had a really good run. He has a Super Bowl. But, were we feeding into this myth of Aaron Rodgers' greatness because there was no other contemporary around aside from Manning and Brady? You know what I mean? Like, this guy's putting up all the numbers. So, okay, let's give him. He's winning with so much less. But there's nothing on the backside that shows validity to that aside from that one playoff run. One playoff run. Tons of MVPs. One playoff run. He's still out there in the desert, in the hot tent. Just be done. Just be done, man. Just be done.
He needs to be. It's just I can't stand a guy. I really can't. I just thought when you decide to throw shade towards Jordan Love, to me that I was just done with you. Period. I don't have to worry about it because I'm not in Green Bay, and I have to be like the ones in Green Bay, which I'm pretty sure a lot of them love that he was gone. But it drives you bananas with the nonsense keeps dribbling out of his mouth. And then you got Devontae Adams that, of course, he showed up. He's on a Pat McAfee show. Oh, look here, it's just even when Hassan Reddick, okay, you're coming back. Whoop de friggin' do, because it's not going to make a damn difference either. And I think the only reason why he decided and chose to come back is just because he knew how much money he was already getting banged for, which I thought, he probably thought like, I'm not going to lose all this money, but you have, dum-dum. So how much money you're going to get back is not even nearly as much as you lost for the season. So I'm done with the whole Jets nonsense. And I mean, the only thing that's going to come out of New York might be the Yankees winning another World Series, which would be, I don't know, the 150th title, no matter which way you look at it. But I'm just done with the Jets. Go ahead, Duncan Dad.
No, I was going to say, when you have the national talking heads who were, let's be very transparent here. The NFL from the get-go, and we've talked about this before, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Aaron Rodgers owed us. NFL said it. All the talking heads at all the big networks. Jets, 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 Jets. No, it's not the Jets.
It's not.
And everybody who had the reservation in your head was saying, you know what, the Jets are going to be the Jets, and the Jets are going to do Jets things because guess what? They're the Jets. You're right. The Jets are being the Jets. Doesn't matter what you put on, how much you shine up that turd, they're being the Jets.
Exactly.
Firing head coach, defense, all over the place. You got a disgruntled receiver because you just brought a new receiver. Mike Williams is playing for other teams basically to pick him up. God knows if Garrett Wilson's going to hang around because now this guy's got his boy here. Sauce Gardner hasn't been thrown at, but now what is he? You're just isolating one little corner of the field. Everybody else doing nothing. Where did Williams go? Anybody see Williams last night? Has anybody seen Williams up front? I haven't seen him. I haven't seen Russell Wilson have plenty of time to move around.
Yep.
That offensive line, we're gonna help you. We're gonna help you, Rodgers, with the offensive line. Highsmith was back. Watt was on the other side. They looked like they were like it was like the Road Warriors, like high-fiving and tag team each other. Which sides are we hitting today? It's a mess. It's a mess. It's worse than the Eagles.
Man, I like the wrestling analogy there, Duncan Dad. That was a good one.
Hey, shout out to Jim Laurinaitis, right? Philly guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, there was something else too. I was kind of other than obviously Russell Wilson looking good for Pittsburgh, but out of the 6 of us that end up picking, only Jay and myself were the only two that decided to go, and that was the bonus game of the week. That decided to go with it. You and Fuji, GPG, and Rick, all you guys went with what you guys thought the Jets were going to win. I knew he was just going to be garbage. Just the way I looked at it. Rick says, by the way, Jets have Patriots next, and I think it will be the make or break game for Rodgers and how I picked them. But
so I need to. Okay,
I'm going for the Patriots.
I'm not going with the Jets. I can tell you that right now, and that would be the dummy pick of the week for next week or coming up for this week. So yeah,
I dummy pick for the season.
Yeah, I just hope that Gerard Mayo friggin' does a number on him. By the way, the picks for the week, you had, so we went with Jacksonville, Detroit. Now, New England, Jacksonville. The only one that lost there was out in, I don't know what Fuji was thinking. Maybe jury duty will help him out today because he went with New England. And Jacksonville, Dougie P was not trying to lose his job. First half looked dry for Jacksonville. But boy, oh boy, did they turn it on in the second half to make sure the London faithful knew when they were going back to America on the other side of the pond that they were going to be well. So the rest of us ended up picking Jacksonville. So Fuji takes a loss on that one. Then you got Detroit, Minnesota, all the way across the board. I think we all knew that Detroit was going to bring it. Who knew it was going to be such a close game? And at the end, winning by a field goal. So that was all by us. And then this one was split where Kansas City and San Fran, Jay, Rick, and Fuji decided to go with San Fran. Brock Purdy didn't go with San Fran, but somehow or another, right, Holmes, he, Gaston guy, myself and Duncan Dad, we knew that KC was going to win. And you got to think about it. And Duncan Dad, GPG, I'll start with you because you look at, you're not going to get more of an honest quarterback than you are out of Patrick Mahomes. Now, people can hate him. They can say whatever they want to about him, but he himself has said that they have not played, and add to their caliber that they're used to. I mean, they have injuries, but they're still undefeated. They squeak away wins. And to me, I'm not saying you have to necessarily drink the KC juice, but they find ways to win. And I don't know what's going on with Kelsey. I guess maybe, I don't know, his girl has him with all kinds of weird, goofy looks and this and that. He's not the same this season at all. So what say you there, GBG?
I think Tay and Kelsey are paying attention to too much other stuff. I don't know if it was probably pre-recorded, but I know he's hosting a show or something on TV. I don't remember what it's called, but he needs to get his head back in the game and start playing like you said. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid or anything, but I am a football fan, and when somebody's good, I'm not afraid to admit, hey, they're good. And Kansas City is good, and they've been squeaking out some wins. Their defense is good. The offense is good, and I think that's what's helping them stay in the game. The defense keeps them in the game, and then Mahomes comes out with his little magic toss to the side, a sidearm, and 30 yards down the field, open receiver touchdown. That guy is he's a magician, man. He makes throws, and I'm like, wow, how do you even do that? So if they can find a way to step it up and play to their potential, man, they're going to be a hard team. And as much as it pains me to say it, they may be in the Super Bowl again. Hopefully they don't win it, but I believe they're going to be there. They're just nobody. There's no team that they can't beat if they play to the way they play. If they let the other team get in their heads, or if they just get full of themselves, then I think there's going to be a problem. But just hearing Patrick Mahomes saying, hey, we're still not playing the way we want to play, that just lets me know that they're harder on themselves than I could ever be. So, like I said last week, I've went against Kansas City once. I'm never going to do it again until they show me that they're not what they are. And right now they're Kansas City, just not the one we're used to seeing, but they're still winning games. So it's still Kansas City to me.
Yep. Duncan Dad?
I'm all for maturity. I'm all for fashion, right? I'm all for you've seen when you're in the element sort of thing, like what you do as opposed to kind of being casual, whatever. But what you don't do is you don't lose the essence of who you are, right?
Yeah, it's just
Right.
it's so dumb.
That's U.S. Open Travis Kelce with Tay Tay. Listen, you can't be on the podcast with your brother throwing beers, talking about fart jokes, things like that, and then doing this over here. Like we talk about identity on this program a lot, right? This is
Mhm.
not who you are, but you're definitely doing something to go this way with this girl. And listen, hey, more power to you. Swifties don't come at me. I'm sure he's mature and blah, 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 blah. But for his craft, he needs to be that BMF who goes out there and takes over a game. And just like GPG was saying, he's in like between first and second gear.
Yep.
He just is. He's going through his motion. You know what he's thinking? And I thought about this last night as I was watching that game. Or excuse me, yesterday I was watching the game. I was like, Kansas City right now, for as horrible as they're playing, and they do this every year, right? They arc up, and they peak at the right time. They don't have to do anything special. I feel as if like every drive, every series that they have, they learn something. They figure it out. Nobody's sweating. Nobody cares. The ball's going to drop a certain way. Mahomes is going to make a shovel pass. Worthy's going to come open. Defense is going to, pick off Purdy 3 times. They just nice and easy. Spags is going to do his thing. There's a contentful just pace at which they play, and they're 6-0, and they've done like nothing aside from where they blew the top off with Worthy for the first game. Like there's nothing special that they've done, but that's game 1, right? This is game 6. Like just nothing special. But the whole Kelce thing. Listen, I thought I hit gold. It was like my 3rd pick, I think, in my fantasy. I'm like, starting tight end, Travis Kelce, going to come back this year. So huge. If he's on your fantasy team, people, and I'm not a fantasy guy, but I'm going to be right now, bench him. Find someone else. He is not your guy. He might be your guy in the playoffs. He is not your guy right now at all.
Kelce just kind of reminds me like to me, it seems like he's just trying to be like, I hope everybody doesn't get mad at me and start firing off on the comment line, but I think he's trying to be like Gronk was. Like Gronk went out into retirement. Well, before he went into retirement, he was the party boy. He was, all this, all that, and party, have fun, do that. But he still came out and played. He still put 100% on the field every day. And even when he came to the Bucs after being retired, it's like he never stopped practicing. His head was always in the game, but yeah, he was still doing the joking around, going to parties and all that kind of stuff. I just don't think Kelce. I don't think he's built like that. And like I said, I hope the Kansas City people don't come at me in the comments, but I just don't think that's not him. Like you were saying, identity. That's not him.
No, it's a great point, because there was a legitimate conversation about maybe 2.5 years ago where people were actually considering Kelce as the greatest tight end of all time. Seriously, like this was a legit conversation that was kicked around. It was going to be Tony Gonzalez. Was it going to be Travis Kelce? Was it going to be Gronk? Was it going to be Gates? Like Pavaro's, like Brent Selleck? Who was it going to be? And like people made the point because you had Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, right? It was like the new coming Brady and Gronk sort of thing. But he just for me personally, I feel like that conversation just like deadpin stopped. Like he is not in that conversation. He doesn't belong in that conversation. He had a really good run. He really professional, all pro, has the championships. But guess what? To GPG's point, he's not Gronkowski. He's not doing what he's doing. He's not Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez left Kansas City, went to Atlanta, and still kicked butt. I mean, like, or vice versa. Like, come on, man. This guy he's. I hate to say this, right? He's on that same platform that Rodgers is going down. The only thing is, he's got the billion follower girlfriend that he's going to. And dude, if you want that to be your thing and that's going to be your life, and more power to you. Like lean all the way into that. Call your brother and be like, yo, Jay, how do I handle this? Like, I got this really great girl. I'm trying to be this, blah, 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 blah. I'm still trying to play football. How did you do that? Because Jason, penultimate family man, always out involved in the community. But when it came time to work and do his job, he did his job.
Yep, he did. He did, and he was nuts about his girl. I mean, he's talked about numerous times how when he came in and she was like this, this starry object. He couldn't believe that, he married her, and kudos to him. But I want to get into this, and I can't believe the judge actually allowed Fuji matter of fact, I'll bring him on for this. So the judge allowed Mike Fuji. This is Philly. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. They told Fuji to go to his chambers so he can go ahead and join the show. So he's out there from some Philly courtroom. It is Mike Fuji.
13 Filbert coming in live
inside of a courtroom.
Easily. Nah, you're allowed to. Oops. You're allowed to. Sorry, I'm like crossing the street, not even paying attention. No, I actually did get out of being a juror. So actually, I have a doctor's appointment Wednesday. That's how I got out of it. In case anybody was wondering.
Why? You should have told me you were a Jets fan. They were letting you go.
I bribed the judge.
That's not hard in Philly.
That's what we do up here in Philly.
Yeah.
Careful, food. You might get somebody started on it.
That's. I'll just call my man Philly mob boss Joey Merlina to get me out of it.
There you go. Or call Bernie. He's got nothing else better to do anymore. Now, I want to bring this up because before we get into some Eagle stuff, you didn't miss anything Eagle-wise there, Fuge. So I held off as long as I possibly could to see if you end up joining the program here. But everybody knows, obviously, the Brandon Ayuk story, held out whatever money, blah, blah, blah. And then they feared it might be a torn ACL. So here's Kyle Shanahan, which at first he thought it was a sustained knee injury, but he believes it could be an ACL. We have yet to get confirmation from the NFL as he's being evaluated this morning. But here's Kyle on Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk had a knee. We're worried it's an ACL. Not confirmed yet, but we'll find out for sure tomorrow. Go ahead.
Obviously, there's been injuries this season, but does it begin to, in your mind, does it accumulate emotionally, taking all these injuries?
Yeah, I mean, it always does for anyone associated with NFL. I know a lot of teams deal with that. Not every team, but we're dealing with it hard right now, and it got worse yesterday, so it's tough.
Yeah, and it's got more problems for San Fran, so it's not just about the knee. I mean, your team right now is just in shambles if you end up really kind of looking at it, but here's the, I don't know why that went away, but I'll bring it back. The other thing, too, was Andy Reid. I mean, Andy has found ways to win. Coming off a bye week, I mean, there's no other thing successful coach that comes off a bye week and does it the way Andy does, as I bring this back up here. But here's Andy on the post game on a team winning against the 49ers. This is from the Kansas City Chiefs website.
Thank you to our fans for being here amongst the red. We brought some more red, and those guys were great. Overall, I thought it was just a good team performance. There were a lot of good things that happened on the defensive side, the offensive side, special teams. Offensively, 184 yards rushing. I mean, who would think of Pat Mahomes and talking about his runs, but he had a couple nice ones. But, all three running backs did a heck of a job there, I thought. The third downs were great. Nags had a great plan, I thought, for these guys as we went forward, 8 for 14 on third down. The red zone, we were better there than what we've been with 4 out of 5 happening there. And scores, that last drive, just bearing down, putting the hammer down on that was important. That was physical. None of this can take place without the offensive linemen on the offensive side. So, and then getting McCole involved, both on special teams and on the offensive side was great. And then I mentioned Kareem, but 78 yards and 22 carries. He's a beast in there. So, as were the other guys. Defensively, I thought we just played great football and 3 picks, 3 turnovers against a real good offense there. And in some area categories, I mean, they were first in the National Football League. That led to 14 points. So 3 turnovers, 14 points. Great thing. Justin Reed is just playing like an all-pro, which he is in our mind. So, but he came out and had the 8 tackles, and again leading the team in tackles and an interception, along with Wallace and Hicks, 2 young guys contributing in their third downs, 2 for 11 again against a good offensive team. And the special teams, Ariza, I mean, you got to take your hat off to him with the field position part of it. It's so important in this league. So He did a nice job. He was back in California, so he was using all that air out there. Anyway.
Before I get into my comments here, you are listening to Martinez Company here live on the Coastal Sports Network, Sports Radio 102.9 FM. The Game on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 12. We'd like to thank our sponsors as well. Don't forget those who are watching over on Tampa Joe's. We'd appreciate everyone who watches over from their Facebook platform as well. So we'd like to thank Tampa Joe's. Don't forget, you guys can go there on Sundays, not only for Eagles games, but just for some great food, some great beer, some great times. 9316 Anderson Road in beautiful Tampa, Florida. Hop, skip, and a jump from the airport, as Fuji has learned with his visits down here. It is a great establishment. Mike and the gang over there do such a phenomenal job. And we thank those who are tuning in from there as well. Don't forget, you can always call or text the show at 727-858-6650. 727-858-6650. Rick says, nope, sorry, that was an old one there. But getting back to Andy Reid here for a second. First of all, is he the most, and I say this in a very good, charming way, is he the most coach that you hate to love only because he continues to have success? Like the Andy Reid tree, maybe minus one person, but just how this dude has been in the NFL since 1905, it feels like, and he still finds ways to win, even with a battered, bruised, scattered, smothered, covered friggin' offense and defense. I just don't know how to do it. And I'll start with you there, Fuj. What is it that Andy has done year after year just to keep finding ways to win?
Consistency. Great players, great coaching staff. Had the success, here in Philly. Unfortunately, we didn't get any Super Bowls with Big Red, but, fourth or fifth in wins, I believe, in NFL history. I just, like I said, consistency. He's just, I think he wore too many hats here in Philly, and, he went to Kansas City and just stuck to coaching and concentrated on that rather than, player personnel and stuff like that, GM stuff. Winning's the key.
Okay, I'm going to ask again. See, you had such a great phone on Friday. Are you back on your Metro PCS phone?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. I knew it. Somehow or another. Combined for GBG and Duncan Dad here. Again, Andy Reid, man. He's this guy. We heard him so many times in Philly, like, just enjoy the win, man. 6-0, banged up, and they win again. Duncan, you first?
I was going to let GPG go if he wanted to go. No, I think it really shows you how talented he is as a coach and offensive mind and coordinator, and also how he is humble enough to know that in order for him to have success as a coach, he needs to have a competent support staff around him that he trusts completely to execute their vision, right? He had Jim Johnson here. He's got Spags out there. He has Bieniemy for the longest time, right? Like he knows what he's good at. He knows what he can scheme. He can look at and evaluate talent, and he puts those people. He was the big joke here, right? It's like, I got to put those guys in position to execute. Got to put them in position. Got to put them in position. But he does, right? And he takes it in stride with his injuries. Mm-hmm. He doesn't try to recreate the wheel. He takes what the defense gives him, matriculates down the field. He scores. They win they win football games. Opposite, right? Like you look at Kyle Shanahan, great offensive mind, has a staunch defense, but right now the injury bug, quote, is hitting him, and it's really exposing his execution, like the execution of his plays. Like maybe you don't have the guys that can do this unless they are top tier talent. Andy Reid's running with rookies. He's running with guys who are just banged the heck up. I'm like, oh, he's got Patrick Mahomes. He had Matt Castle, Donovan McNabb, Kevin Kolb, Alex Smith. Stop me when you get to the next Hall of Famer, right? Like some of these guys were just, Nick Foles. Like Nick Foles the anointed came down and touched him for the time being that he was here.
Right.
Like a good coach is a good coach. And Reed, he continues to do more and more. And yeah, it is a love-hate kind of thing because like you want him to succeed, but you're like, damn, he's doing it again. Man, he's doing it again. Like first coach to win what? 4 and 5 consecutive division and conference championships in 2 leagues.
Mm-hmm.
He's won coach of the year one time. One time he's won coach of the year. That's ridiculous.
It is.
Guy's got 3 Super Bowls and 4 rings. He's got 1 coach of the year.
Yep.
Come on, man. Be better, NFL.
GBG, you got anything to add?
No, I think Fuji and Duncan Dad said it all. I mean, he just knows how to evaluate talent, and he knows he's good at putting guys in the position that they need to be in to make the plays that he needs them to make. And that's either it's on offense, defense. He knows how to delegate stuff that he can't do himself. And that's one of the good things of coaching. If you can do that, you can be a good coach, but if you can't put the guys that you have in the position that you need them for you to win, then you're just a good coach. Great coach, Andy Reid. He puts the guys in the position and he motivates them to do what he needs them to do. And I guess that just goes to show that he's a good motivator. He's a good coach. He's a good delegator. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what he can't do. And he just passes it to the next coach so that he knows the coaches that he needs to put into the spots that he needs for him to succeed.
Yep. I want to close out here with the Eagles as we're quickly coming up here towards the end of the broadcast. But also, did anybody quickly did I don't know if anybody caught this? Did anybody happen to see the Carson Wentz come in there and just he didn't even look fast. I mean, it looked like he just like Father Time caught up with him quick. It was a simple run play, but it was like, oh, is that Carson Wentz? Someone needs to dust him off a little bit. I don't know, put some WD-40 and maybe some Quaker State, 40 weight in his legs.
Get the oil from the Tin Man.
Exactly.
It was interesting to see. It was interesting to see. But that's what Andy Reid does. He works them in, right? He's always setting you up for something. There was a great breakdown a couple weeks ago about Chiefs run their offense against Denver maybe, and Baldinger broke it down. And he was just like he sets up these plays so that sometime in the third quarter, when you're not looking for whatever, he's going to run this again. It's like, oh my God. And you're just like, wow, yeah, he really did that. He really ran this. Oh my gosh. You might run a play like 2 times a year, but he's just waiting and waiting and waiting for that situation. He's pulling his hair out yesterday when Patrick wanted to go deep and Worthy fell down, the ball got picked off, and they panned to Andy, and his face was just like, okay, that was your throw that you get downfield. He fell down. Now we're going to go back to what I want to do.
Yep. It's okay. He's just a brilliant man. All right. Now, to finish up here with the Eagles, and even though I don't want to give this dum-dum any more time either, but here's Nick Sirianni. He says that Frank Reich taught him to be on the lookout for individual milestones. This is credit from the Philadelphia Eagles website. God, this moron. Here he is.
Yeah. I usually like to keep my conversations with guys private. Frank Reich was always would say to me, make sure we know when somebody's on the verge of doing something really special, because it's hard to do that. It's hard to recapture that, or breaking a record, or whatever it is. Similar to Devontae breaking the rookie single season record a couple years ago. We really wanted to get that for him. And so, that was on our mind because I got the word from the box that he was close to his career high, and I sat there with him and I said, listen, here's where you are and here's what it is. And he looked at me and he said, this gives me chills to think about. Like, this guy is such a great teammate and all he cares about is winning. And he looked at me and he said, let the other guys eat. And I was like, you're special, dude. And he's a special player.
All right, that's enough of that freaking jackass. I'm just doing special this and the other, whatever. Yeah, whatever. It was a cute win. It's a cute win. That's all it is. And next week, it'll become reality all over again. It's just a cute win. He told me this. He told me that. Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. So who'd you bring up to the podium? Oh, you didn't bring anybody to the podium this week. Why? Because you won. So enough of this, this whole thing about records. What records? Bro, you got to... Anyways. Such a moron. Anyways, Eagles end up winning a cute game, 28-3 against the New York Giants. They're rebuilding New York Giants. It took you 14 sticking minutes to even get a score. They should be ashamed of themselves. As bad. And even my hermano, who's coming up later on, by the way, from 4 to 6 p.m., drive with Q, even as much as he went fishing yesterday, I'm pretty sure he should have hooked friggin' Nick Sirianni and throw him out there in the Atlantic Ocean. That friggin', I can't stand him anymore. I honestly cannot stand Sirianni anymore. Then with Frank Reich. Shut up, dope. What's the next thing you guys talking about? Well, Jim Johnson said beyond the grave. I should talk about this. Whatever's. Anyways, take it away, Fuji. Fucking moron. I can't stand it. Honest to God.
You're rare for him.
Because I know what Eagles fans are going to be like, oh, you're back on the band. I'm not. Listen, I said it at the beginning of the year that these guys are still reverting to last year. Am I wrong, Duncan, Dad? In the beginning of the season, I mentioned that I am not on board with whatever he's ditching out. There isn't enough chunky soup going back to Donovan McNabb days to get me convinced that this team is going to do anything in particular. And then the same way with Jalen Hurts with deciding, well, no, I'm here to play the game. I'm just here. I'm going to talk real soft to everybody so y'all can understand. You hear there's a voice dropping. It's the device. Come on, bro, stop it. Before you were all boisterous, and now you go from volume 10 to, we were here. We won the game. What? I'm sorry, Jalen. What did you say? Were you talking through a transformer? Is there 10 cups in your mouth? Like, come on, get on the same sheet of music. And anybody who comes out here this week, and I'm pretty sure the Philly faithful will probably call in 94 and 97.5. Oh my God, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Shut up. No, you're not.
Oh man.
It's not gonna happen.
Go to Fuge because I know Fuge probably listened to that on his drive in today too.
He probably did. Go ahead, Fuge.
Listen to what?
To the dribble that's coming out of Philly fans out there on the Philly radio.
I haven't listened this morning.
Oh,
sure, everybody's back on the bandwagon. I'm still tuning in.
Oh yeah,
not a fan of Joe Giulia though. He's talk about another clown. I like to debate him on sports.
Go ahead, Duncan Ed.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You beat the Cleveland Browns. Wow. Barely.
Right.
You run all over the New York Giants. And it's all over social media, like up here. Revenge game. Saquon had no revenge versus the Giants.
Nope.
There's no revenge here. The Giants never beat him down. Like, there was no animosity between them. He wanted to get paid. He didn't get paid. He was injured. They took a lot of, caution with wanting to pay a guy who had messed up his knee and had hurt himself in the past. So, there's no revenge. So he goes off for 176 yards, a couple touchdowns. Hurts, more importantly, 10 for 14. They were like, this guy should only throw the ball 14 times. We'll run the ball. And he had the one deep shot to A.J. Brown. Fantastic. But that's your offense. If you're a Philly team, that's your offense. Limit what Hurts has got to do with the ball. Let him take a shot. Let him run it at the goal line. If you want to do a little pushy thing or his little dive, whatever it is, feed the ball to Saquon. Let your defense get aggressive. But this is them playing with the lead and them being able to really pin their ears back and go. And everybody's dropping off comments are like, oh, everybody put some respect on Vic Fangio's defense. Vic Fangio's defense has only given up X amount of points in the last couple of weeks. But, dude, look at who you played. It's not like you're playing the Chiefs. It's not like you're playing, Tampa again. It's not like you're playing Baltimore again. It's not like you're playing, the Bills again. Like, listen, it's fantastic. You're 4-2. You're falling into a favorable situation and everybody's got to get lucky. And I'm not saying I'm not an Eagles fan, blah, blah, blah. I love the Eagles. Go Birds. But Jaden Daniels goes down with a rib injury. Yep. The Cowboys are a dumpster fire. The Giants are just – there's a couple teams in the league that really need to be regulated. Like, we had the contraction back in the day for baseball. Like, a couple of these teams need to be put on the board. Like, they don't need to be like the Premier League has tiers.
Mm-hmm.
We need to think about that. We need to think about that. A little extra. But everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid again. It's all fantastic. Everything's great. All right in the world again. Right. Nick didn't have to bring up the deflecting kids. Like, why don't you bring the kids today? Celebrate the victory with the kids. That's a great thing today. Saquon came back, such a great guy, great example, so selfless. Here's my kid. This is a good example. So I'm be selfless.
Yeah, because he's freaking. I'm telling you, because I'm to the point where I'm done with him. I'm definitely done with Big Dom with the constant thing of, where's the camera? Where's the camera? Here I am, Big Dom. Hey, come on. And then the whole thing too. Listen, everyone is proud of their nationality, their heritage, their ethnicity. Everybody is. But it's some of it's like I'm just waiting for Big Dom to come out with a tracksuit, and other stuff, because it's ridiculous. Like this. Okay, I'm glad. And by the way, I did hear somebody from up there from either one or two radio stations were also let go due to cutbacks. I know Ego was let go over the summer, along with Coach over at 97.5. But wasn't there
Cooney.
someone last week they got rid of as well?
Yeah. Well, on on regular radio, Odyssey let go of Andre Gardner.
Yep, I did hear about that one as well. But I could have sworn there was somebody let go last week too, because all these cutbacks.
There was on another station, I guess, like you said, Duncan Dad.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody on 97.5, at least I didn't hear.
No, I didn't hear anything on that.
Usually Cross and Broad will report that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a shame though with the way regular radio is going anymore, because again, now this Soros bought basically every friggin' station under the sun. Good luck with that one, America. Wait until that starts coming out. That's going to be terrific. You guys going to hear voices you never heard before in your life. Like, what station am I listening to? Propaganda radio. That's what you guys going to be listening to. So you can always tune in here, because we can say whatever we want here on the Closest Sports Network. But anyways, to finish up here, we got about 2 minutes some change to kind of close out the show. So again, another squeaker of a win. Everyone for that game, because I'm pretty sure we had it for the pick of the week, minus Jay, who picked the Giants. Don't know why, but hey, whatever. All of us went with that one. Also, what was the other one? That Houston Green Bay game. Now, that was kind of like a toss-up too, because you figured Jay, Fuji, and Gasp Guy went with Houston. Myself, Duncan Dad, and Rick went with Green Bay. And Green Bay wins it by a field goalie. So, not bad. What was the so what do we look like for the week there, Duncan Dad, before we close out the show?
Well, that's why I was going back, because I forgot that we counted the Eagles game as the last game and the Jets as the bonus game, right?
Yeah, but that's the bonus game we did. That's just a toss-up. That's not really one to count for.
So then, if we take the regular standings, you went 5-0. I went 5-0. Rick went 4-1. Fuji was 2-3. Gas Pump was 3-2. And who am I missing? Jay, right? Yeah, Jay. Jay was. I think Jay was the worst this week.
Yeah, I think he was too.
Yeah, I think he went like 2 and he went 1. No, 2. He went 2. He went 2 and 3. He went 2 and 3. But his were bad losses.
Yeah,
bad
losses. The Mets now he went 2 and 4.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh.
Because I'm pretty sure that'll be discussed later on this evening with Beeves World for sure. But we'd like to once again thank to everyone, including Gas Pump Guy, who takes time away from the job site. You guys heard a couple of drilling. So the drilling was, see, you guys got to understand something. Gas Pump Guy is always constantly working, but the drilling, what you heard, that was Fuji in the chambers when he said he actually got out of jury duty. That's not fooling anybody. He's just taking a drill to someone's teeth saying, you hear what I said here? Huh? You hear what I said? So don't let him fool you.
I was drilling for liquid gold after the election. In a couple weeks, we'll be drilling some oil in our own country.
Let's hope.
Energy independent, right? That's what they said.
Yep.
Starts with energy.
All right. Tonight's game, obviously, we have 2 on the slate here. Baltimore and Tampa Bay. And then to close it out here, it will be the Chargers and Arizona. So I will start with, you know what, Duncan Dad? Which I'm pretty sure I know the route you're going to go just because of your Lady Levon. But you start off there first. First pick, Tampa Bay, Baltimore. What say you?
Man, I have on our Coastal Sports Network picks there on our ESPN fantasy there. Yep. I have Tampa locked in, and I'm on the fence with that game, and I really want to pick Tampa because they're at home. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get past the whole Derrick Henry thing. Like, I just don't know.
I know it's tough.
It's a tough game. I almost don't want to pick it. And then that later game, it's like gouging my eyes out. I don't know what to do with that game. I mean, everybody's like on the Chargers, but I just don't know. Like, is Kyler Murray going to show up? Is Connor going to show up? Is Harrison going to play? Like, just I don't know. I don't want to pick.
All right. Well, Rick is going with Baltimore so far. By the way, Rick said he thought Fuji was at a dentist. No, it should. Listen, if anybody's at a dentist, if you guys have never, so if you guys rub Fuji the wrong way, Fuji's got some crazy utensils that he likes to use on certain things that I won't say what it is. I've seen the shop. It's kind of crazy, but he takes care of business. And, it's the Fuji way for those who don't know. But of course, I say that in tongue in cheek with his Metro PCS phone. But Fuji, what says you? See the intro I just gave to Fuji? Where is he? He's probably at a payphone now. Well, I won't go to Fuji.
I'm here.
Oh, now you come back.
Now you're here.
No, I'm here.
Yeah.
Hit the mute button.
The what?
Well, he's got my face. Hit the mute button.
All right. I got to go get a package.
I like Tampa
Later, Duncan Dad.
and the Chargers.
Tampa and the Chargers, okay. What says you there, GBG?
Well, I'm gonna go with my boys, Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray's gonna have a good game.
All right. Rick went with the Chargers as well. Fuge?
Chargers.
All right. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I just don't believe Kyler Murray and Kruger are going to get the job done nonetheless. So, all right. That's the picks for this week as far as, for Monday, not for the week, because Fridays, obviously, we'll go back and do our picks of the week for Friday. But thank you all once again for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Don't forget, you can always leave a comment behind. You can go right directly to the website and let us know exactly how we're doing. As always, you can even text after the show because the text lines are always open in case you have a question later on for one of the other shows as well. 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. But thanks to Gaspam Guy, to Mike Fuji, obviously Duncan Dad for joining me. The sounders provided to us by info@sportsbroadcasting.com. Don't forget, you can always reach out to them as well and let them know what they think about, what you guys think about as far as their NFL Sounders. And then later on this afternoon will be my hermano Rich Q with the Drive with Q from 4 to 6 p.m., followed by Bees World from 6 to 8. And then capping off the night will be Lloyd Vance's Insider Football right here on Sports Radio 102.9 FM, The Game with Kevin Midget. That will be from 8 till 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. I was going to say ESPN Standard Time. There's no such thing, but Eastern Standard Time. All right. Well, thank you to everyone. We do appreciate it. Everyone, have yourselves a great rest of your day. Don't forget, Pete will be out the rest of the week. He is going to the DR, otherwise known as South Miami, but he will be out there in Punta Cana. So he will be out there in the DR for the rest of the week. And I will be back on Wednesday at 10 a.m. So enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe, make good choices, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Let's go, Bucks.
Birds. Go Birds.
Go Bucks.
Birds.
Yeah. Go nothing. How about go gadget yourselves?
Inspector Gadget.
Exactly.
Go Gadget, go.
Angel, are you getting mail on the regular now? Or are you guys getting